Whilst aspects of this story are a bit ridiculous and personal to me, it does perhaps highlight patterns of behaviour that are common to many of us. When I started walking a few days ago, it wasn't long before I realised with some alarm and horror, that I was completely colour coordinated from head to toe. My boots, my trousers, my fleece were all a pattern of black and like a slate grey. My hat was slate grey, my t-shirt was slate grey, my socks were slate grey, my undies were black, my waterproofs were black, everything, even my rucksack is grey. Everything I was wearing was the same two colours. The interesting thing about it was my reaction to that. So immediately I turned my hat inside out, because it's orange on the inside, to break up this pattern of behaviour which I wasn't comfortable with, but had been revealed. The next day I wore my spare trousers, which are just light in colour and plain. Those trousers I keep for the evenings and the train back, so I've got something that's dry and clean. And then I pondered it a little, and I can see how in life generally I would just never be colour coordinated. My image is more random clothing, not smart, casual, and I didn't like to portray this image, even though there was nobody around, hardly passing a single person. Those I did pass didn't know me from Adam. We'd cross paths within moments, and even if I had been at home and known the people around me, what would it matter? Why was I so concerned about not portraying a certain image through my clothing? And the many different tangents have revealed themselves over the last few days with regard to this. Rather than try and explore all those, the central issue really is one of judgment. I realise that both judgment of myself and judgment of others, primarily judgment of myself, which I then project out onto judgment of others. So within my desire to project a certain casual image is an aversion of projecting an image that shows care and attention to what I wear and to how I look. And I can see how in life I have a negative judgment of people who clearly show a great deal of care in how they present themselves, in what they wear. Judgment is an aspect of self-identity, it's division. And so an aspect of the division within me has been revealed accidentally or unconsciously probably, and that's helped me to let that go and the different aspects of it that have been revealed. So today, So today I've just put back on all the original clothing, the black and grey, and it's quite interesting that when people come in the other way, I don't feel at all concerned. I feel that just by becoming aware of it and then just being with it as it's come out, seeing it for what it is, I've let that go. And in the letting go of that, it's helped me to let go of an aspect of the division of the self-identity that's the cause of suffering for me. Because it's that self-identity that is the disassociation from truth. A truth that is peaceful, that is loving, that is free of judgment, that is free of separation. And so, whatever our patterns of behaviour are, as we become aware of them, and life in one way or another often helps us to show the dual aspect of that. So for me in this instance, it was like all of a sudden I've got all this colour coordinated clothing on and changing the pattern. So the old pattern was to change the clothing, stop being colour coordinated, but being aware of that, and then going back to doing what I don't do, what I don't feel comfortable with. That helps us to let go of the pattern. Hope that's all making some sense, and I hope in some way it's helpful with regard to you identifying your own patterns of behaviour. Those patterns of behaviour reinforcing the perception of separation, of division between you and others, you and all else, primarily between you and your true nature. Okay.